Hello everyone, welcome to class. So I'm going to be showing you how to draft this easy tutorial on the basic bodies. So now I'm going to be working with these measurements. So I'm going to be dropping it on the screen so you can see that clearly. So like the first thing you need to do is to get the the bust circumference. So like I'm going to be dividing the bust into two. So like my bust is 35, so I went ahead to divide by 2. So I had 17.5 there. So the reason why I'm dividing by 2 is to get half of the round bust measurement. So for 17.5 I'm going to be adding 2 inches allowance for it. So you're going to be knowing why I added that 2 inches later on. So I made that 19.5. So I marked that out. Sorry, it's not showing very clearly. I'm going to be adjusting the video soon so you can see it more clearly. So I marked 19.5. So that is my bust measurement divided by 2 plus 2 inches. So my bust is 35. I divided by 2, that's 17.5. Then I added 2 inches to give me 19.5. So the next step I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dividing the 19.5 by 2. That will give me like 9.7 something. So I'm going to go ahead to mark that. So once I mark that, so I'm going to go ahead to divide it into 2 like that. I'm going to mark the points, and I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect those points. So once I've done that, so that means I've been able to divide the pattern into 2 and divide it into back and front. So that is what I am going to be working with. In this instance, I'm cutting the back and the front together. So now I'm going to be getting the vertical measurements for both sides. So I'm going to be working with the front part first. So for this part I used my waist vertical waist measurement, which was 17. So I marked that out, and I'm going to be using a straight ruler to connect the points. I extended the point to the back as well, but I'm not going to be using that waistline for the back. The reason is because the back depth is always shorter than the front. If you check your measurements from the shoulder to the waistline, for the front is always different for the back. So if the front is 17, I measured my back waist from the shoulder, I got 15. So that's why I'm marking 15. I'm starting from the shoulder point, so I marked 15. I'm going to be connecting those points. So that is my new waistline for the back. So I'm not using the same waistline for the front, for the back as well. So I'm using 15 inches for the back. So you're going to go ahead to measure your own waistline for the back. You place your table on your shoulder, you measure up to your back depth, which should be shorter than the waistline for the front. So now once I'm done doing that, I'm going to be marking my chest line. So for this part I use 8 inches for myself. For these measurements I'm working with, I use 8 inches. There's a calculation for that. You're just going to be dividing your bust points by 6. You add 1.5 to that, to the answer you get. So my bust point was 35. I divided by 6 and I added 1.5. So I think I got like 7.2 2 or something, so I just went ahead to use 8 inches for that. So that's 8. So if you don't want to do the calculation, you can always measure your chest line on your clients. So after the chest line, I'm going to the bust point. So my bust point was 10 inches, so I marked 10 inches, and that's what I'm going to be working with. So if you notice, I didn't mark the bust point for the back, because the reason is because there's no busts at the back, so we don't need that bust line for the back. The same as the under bust line, we don't need it for the back because there's no under bust at the back. So I'm measuring my under bust line for the front, which is 13.5. So I went ahead to connect those points together, and I'm going to be labeling them. So now the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be marking my shoulder point. So I'm going to be marking my shoulder. So my shoulder is once I'm done 14, I divided by that by 2, I got 7. So I marked 7 inches on my shoulder, and I came down to the chest line and I marked 7 inches as well. So I'm going to be connecting those points. So that is what I did there. So I connected the shoulder point to the chest line. Now I'm going to be marking my shoulder depth. So for the back I used 1 inches, for the front I used 1.5 inches. The reason I did that was the back should have a slight rise than the front, so I made sure my back was lesser than the front. That is the shoulder depth. So once I did that, I'm just going to be marking my neckline. I used 2.5 horizontally, and for the back I used 1 inches. For the front I used for the vertical measurements I used 3 inches for the front. You can use 3 by 4 for the front, you can use 3 by 3, it all depends on you. So I just went ahead to use my curve to get that curve very well. So now I'm going to be connecting the neckline to the shoulder depth. So guys, this is quite easy. Just follow these steps and you're good to go. Just nothing good comes easy. Like once you're done with this part, you're just good to go. So the next thing I just did is I divided that point, I divided that by 2. So I'm going to be connecting that to the other side together. So now for the back, I'm going to go in by ½ inches. For the front, I'll go in by 0.75. The reason why I did this is I don't want the front is what I really need the alterations to really fit me on the armhole side, but in this case I just used 0.5 for the back because I didn't use the across chest and the across back measurement. So if you don't want to use that, you can just do this and just go in by 0.5 and 0.75 respectively, like that. So I'm going to be shaping the armhole like that. So you just go in from, place your ruler on that point and you connect it to the armhole area. So it's that easy. Just take your time and you're good to go. So I'm just making sure that I don't have any sharp edges. So like we're almost done, guys. Just keep following this tutorial. Please, if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and like the video. So now I'm going ahead to mark my horizontal measurement. My bust measurement is 34. I divided that by 4. I got 8.5. I mean 35, sorry, that's 8.75 or something. So I just went ahead to add half inch for ease. So you may add the half inch, you may not add the half inch. Remember, there's no allowance in this pattern. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be marking my waist, my round waist measurements. In this point I got 7.25. My waist is 29. I divided that by 4. So now I'm going to be adding 1.5 inch for my dart. So I used 1.5 inch because I wanted my dart to be 0.75 inch on both sides. You can go ahead and use 0.5 inch on both sides, which will be 1 inch for your dart allowance. So now for the back, I'm just going to be repeating the same thing I did for the front. I'm going to be bringing my measurement to the back as well. And for the waistline, I'm going to be working on the new waistline. If you remember, we were using the new waistline. So for that point, I'm going to be marking my round waist measurement plus 1.5 inch, the same thing I did for the front. So I'm going to be marking that as well. So I'm going to be coming in by half inch for that part, that back depth, because I don't want that part to be bulgy. I don't want any extra fabric folding on that side. So I'm going to be coming in by half inch. So that is just what I did here. So guys, if you remember, I added 1.5 inch for the dart and I already came in 0.5 inch for the back. So now I'm left with just 1 inch for that back. So I'm going to be explaining how I'm going to do that. So I'm just using my difference between my nipple. I got 8 inch. I divided that by 2. That gave me 4. So I just went ahead to connect that, and now I'm marking my dots. So remember, I used 0.75 on both sides for the front dart, which gave me 1.5. So now I just marked the 0.75 and I connected that to the bust point. I'm just going to do the same thing for the back. So I'm going to mark my difference, my nipple difference, which is 4 inches. It's also called bust band. So next thing I'm just going to do is I'm just going to connect the points to the bust, the chest line, sorry. So I'm going to come in for my darts. So this is where the remaining 1 inch comes in. I'm just going to take in half inch on both sides. Now if you remember, our back is shorter than the front, so I just went ahead to measure the difference. I had 2 inches, so I'm going to mark that 2 inches from the bust point, and I'm just going to connect those lines. That is the difference between the back and the front. This is going to be useful for us later because that is going to make our pattern the same thing. Remember, one side is still shorter than one for now, but once we mark this bust, that both sides are going to be the same thing. So I just went ahead to mark 2 inches on that bust dart, and I got the midpoint, which was 1 inch, and I connected those points together. So that is it for this. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut now. So guys, I'm almost done cutting the back. I'm going to be cutting the front after this. So guys, I'm going to be explaining some things to you. Why you need the bust that's at that point. So now if you notice, the back and the front is not the same thing at this point. One is shorter than one. So I'm going to be showing you how you're going to make both the same thing. So now guys, please if you have not subscribed, please subscribe at this point, like the video. So now I'm just showing you how you're going to fold the bust dart. See how I carefully did that. At this point you're supposed to open up the waist dart so it can relax, but I didn't want to open it up. I just wanted to show you how to make the sides equal. So I'm just going to be taping the bust dart at this point. In the next tutorial I'm going to be showing you how you are going to transfer that bust dart to any part you want to transfer it to, being the shoulder, the waist, anywhere, the neckline, anywhere you want to transfer it to. So can you see how I made the sides equal at this point? So that is that for this tutorial. Thank you. Please subscribe. I'm just going to be showing you how it looks like. So when you join your shoulder, can you see that everything is equal? One is no longer than one side. So this pattern is quite easy to work with for your bustiers, your corsets, and every other thing you want to work with. Please subscribe to this channel so you can get more tutorials like this. Thank you so much for watching.